If you've been here a while, first off, thank you. You have no idea how much it means to me. If you've been here a while, maybe you've seen the review for the HBO Antonio Banderas Pancho Villa movie I did. I thought Antonio Banderas as Pancho Villa saying things like, "We never speak Spanish, we speak Mexican," was going to be the absolute low point of these reviews. Then I watched the first 35 minutes of Apocalypto. I had no idea it could get worse. That Pancho Villa movie turned me into an alcoholic. This Apocalypto movie caca has me trying harder drugs. If you see me under a bridge turning tricks to maintain my new habit going, you are way too involved in my life. I need you to take 2 steps back, please. Oh my god, that's strong. Usually when doing these reviews, I will watch a movie at least 3 times. Once to start thinking about the movie, the second time to take notes and develop my spicy hot caliente takes, a third time with my sister and or mom so they can tell me something I didn't notice or to reinforce a point I already had. While I'm editing, I pull stills from the movie and technically that's a 4th time. Suffices to say, I am very thorough and know the movies pretty well when doing these reviews. For Apocalypto, I wasn't gonna even finish the movie. 35 minutes in and I was ready to do the review. Not finishing the movie, not doing any research, not writing anything down. Just flipping on the camera and word vomiting all over you guys. I decided to finish the movie, do the research, and write this video. The only thing I won't do is watch that movie again. Nope, no chance. I could only stomach it once, and barely. And I am not going to subject my family to it either. I joke about how comfortable I am in my position in my family. Making them watch this movie might get me kicked out of the family. For real. This review is the first and hopefully the only one in the series, Gracias, lo odio. Gracias, lo odio. Let's get this over with. My best guess is that Mel did a couple of bumps. Allegedly. And this came to him as a fever dream. Officially, Mel wanted to do a story about people no one else does stories about, the Mesoamerican native folks. He couldn't decide between the Maya or the Aztec. I think it's super obvious that he wanted to do a movie about the Aztecs, but the Maya were more sophisticated and brilliant, so he reluctantly chose the Maya. Mel wanted to make a cool action-adventure chase movie. Why did he choose historical people? Might be the cocaine. Allegedly. Mel and his writing partner, Farhad Safinia, consulted some supposed historians about the Maya. Now, who the hell knows if they listened to the historian, ignored it, and just did the story they wanted? And who cares? It's a bunch of dirty, backwards Indios. Or the historian they consulted didn't know what the heck he was talking about. And again, it doesn't matter because it's a story about dirty, backwards Indios. Gracias, lo odio. The historian they consulted was some white guy named Richard D. Hansen, who doesn't even have any letters after his name. The writers of this movie are Mel, a white guy, and Farhad, a brown dude. But not the correct type of brown dude. Farhad is Iranian. Just as it would be weird for me to make a movie about Persian people, it's weird for him and Mel to be making a movie about the Maya. They could argue that it's not actually about the Maya. If that is their argument, they shouldn't have had them speak Yucatec Mayan. I bring up who made this movie because who is telling this story matters. All the praise for this movie always boils down to how good a director Mel Gibson is. Not about the historical accuracy, not the acting on the native folks' part, not the story, not the fact that they're speaking Yucatec Mayan. No, it's all for Mel, mother-loving Gibson. Gracias, lo odio. This whole story is what this bro thinks about how the Mayan people were. This whole entire movie is the Mayan people, but through a racist white man's lens. We will get to that. This story is literally no different than the stories that have been told about native people for centuries. How gross, dirty, backwards, stupid, ungodly, bloodthirsty, barbaric, horrid, little brown people they are. All of that was and still is used to justify the literal genocide that happened after the malnacidos hijos de puta got here. Don't believe me? Let's look into it. When movies are analyzed, most of the time there is talk about if a movie is good or bad. Critics, scholars, and analysts alike love to tell you if a movie is good or bad. I don't abide by that kind of metric. I think it's kind of pointless. What I think is more important is if you enjoyed the movie or not. So on this channel, I'll never tell you if a movie is good or bad. I think that's boring to me. Hopefully, that makes my reviews more interesting and from a different perspective. However, for this movie, I'm throwing everything out the window. This movie is bad, objectively bad, and we will get to the film school analysis soon. To get us started, let's look at these 3 things. 1, is the movie memorable? 2, can you name 2 characters in the movie? 3, have you ever rewatched the movie? If you answered no to all 3 of these questions, that means that the movie is bad. Objectively bad. Let's get into the first point. Pause this video and tell me what the plot of this movie is in the comment section down below. Then come back and see if you remembered it correctly. Apocalypto stars native folks from Mexico and other Mexicans. The most famous is Raul Max Trujillo, who comes out in Mayans MC on FX. No one else in this cast has done anything else of note. That is messed up and adds to my overall thesis of how stunningly racist this movie actually is. We'll get there. Apocalypto was written by Mel Gibson and Farhad Safina. Aside from the costume designer May C. Rubeo, no one else Mexican or Latino even worked on this production. I'm not counting production assistants. I'm talking about important folks making decisions. This movie is entirely through a white person's lens, and we'll talk about it in a minute. This trash fire of a movie starts with a group of supposed Mayan people in the jungle of southern Mexico. They are hunting and eventually catch this tapir. These supposed Mayan men have a conversation straight out of a 1980s teen sex comedy. Eating testicles will make you more virile. Rubbing chiles on your pee-pee will make your girl pregnant. These folks come across another group of supposed Mayans and trade fish for safe passage through the jungle. Weird, because Mayans built a sophisticated network of communities and all of this jungle should be cleared out, but okay, gracias, lo odio. Those fish Mayans pass through and warn these jungle Mayans about something dangerous coming. The jungle Mayans get back to their mud huts? Why are they dressed like the slave class of people? That's weird, but okay. This guy rubs chiles on his pee-pee and his lady gets enchilada. The Mayans are the smartest and most amazing civilization. You'd think this dumbass would know a chile is hot before rubbing it on his pee-pee? Wow, lo odio. So this guy, Jaguar Paw, has a baby on the way, and that's the only guy who has a name, I think. Here is a group of evil, scary Mayans. Gracias, lo odio. If I ever get married, I want my wedding dress to include jaws like this. That is super badass. The only thing in this entire movie I liked. Wait, why are these warriors also dressed like the slave class? Warriors also traveled with a lot of servants that carried their weapons, food, etc. Where are the servants? Everyone is weirdly dirty and half naked. Okay. When the malnacidos Spanish got here, they were so shocked at how clean and beautiful everything was. Plus, they were baffled by the natives bathing regularly. But sure, these folks are nasty as hell. Gracias, lo odio. So these scary Mayans kidnap, do sexual assault, and burn this little tribe to the ground. Mayans didn't live in huts, but okay. Also, sexual assault was more of a criminals that came over on Spanish ships thing, but okay. All of these folks walk for 2 days to the nearest city. They seem shocked to see a city, but it's only a 2 days walk. On their way, they encounter this little girl who has smallpox.
Gracias, lo odio.
Before any of these people ever encountered a white man, she has smallpox. Okay, this child is warning? These evil Mayans that because of what they are doing, some good Christians are gonna come and will kill them all. I think this warning was supposed to be for the Aztec Mexica people, but they did not exist yet. And we'll get to that. They get to the city. These city details are fairly accurate, and I don't have much beef with these 9 minutes of movie. All this human sacrifice though, I literally cannot. The Mayans never did this, especially at this point in their history. These Mayans are gross, evil, bloodthirsty, and killing people for sport. I think Mel is confusing the Maya with the malnacidos hijos de puta Spanish, but okay. These people are sacrificed Aztec Mexica style. An eclipse happens and they stop their sacrifice, but then use these poor bastards as human target practice. Jaguar Pa, did you remember his name? Manages to escape. The evil Maya hunt him down, and the rest of the movie is a cross between Home Alone and Rambo First Blood Part 2. But like in a lame way. Those movies were at least fun. I kind of wanted the evil Maya to kill Jaguar Pa and end my misery, but he escapes. Gracias, lo odio. There is this whole subplot where Jaguar Pa has a pregnant wife and a kid. The wife gives birth to a kid in the cave. Jaguar Pa, the wife, and the 2 kids walk off into the jungle. Before that happens, they see these Spanish boats. That is when my soul left my body and I realized I was in hell. I've done a handful of bad things in my life, and after watching Lucifer 1,000 times, I had no idea the devil could be so cruel. Next section, please. I stopped can-knotting for what feels like 20 years now. Let's go. I did not think that in the year of our Señor Jesus Cristo, 2022, I would have to remind you that the Mayan and the Aztec Mexica people are different. Collectively, we have believed 2 lies our entire lives. 1, that the native folks of Mesoamerica were dumb and the Spanish were smarter and superior, and that is how they conquered Latin America. And 2, that Mexico only has 2 native populations. If you are from Mexico, you are either of Aztec Mexica descent or of Mayan descent. The Spanish were in no way superior. I get into that in this video about La Malinche, the native slave woman who changed the entire world. Link in the carcancha down below. The Mexica Aztecs were wiped off the face of the earth, so it is impossible to be of Mexica Aztec descent. Sorry. Also, there are dozens of other tribes in Mexico that did survive. If you have native Mexican blood, you are most likely from a tribe that hates the Aztecs and helped in their defeat, or you are from a tribe that had no idea the Aztecs even existed. Why do I bring this up? For many, many reasons, but the one pertaining to this video has to do with the fact that, say it with me familia, the Aztec Mexica folks are not the same as the Mayan people. The Mayan Empire dates from 1500 before Christ to 1697 Anno Domini. The Aztec Empire dates from 1426 Anno Domini to 1524 Anno Domini. Most historians say that they were in power for roughly a century, even though they are a couple of years short. The Mayans gave us the most accurate calendar ever, the concept of the number 0, accurate astronomy, amazing architecture. The Maya did not have one centralized ruler or monarch. They had many city-states with independent leaders and systems of government. They knew how to fight, but were not fierce warmongers. The Aztecs gave us soccer, floating gardens, and the color red. They also had a great system of universal education. No matter your class, everyone got an education in the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire was composed of the Triple Alliance, the Mexica of Tlacopan, Tenochtitlan, and Texcoco. Their form of government was a monarchy. The Aztecs were hard, badass warriors that went into other tribes, kidnapped the important folks, and sacrificed them. They loved ripping out still beating hearts and sacrificing in mass. Mayans, not so much. After seeing the Aztecs do that, they did some, but nowhere near as much as the Aztecs. This thing here is called a tozompantli. I want this to be my background and I'm working on it. The Aztecs sacrificed enough people to make a huge tozompantli out of human skulls. The Aztecs did this, not the Maya. The Mayan tozompantli was made of stone because they didn't sacrifice folks Aztec style. Now that we've established that, buckle up because here comes the nitpicking of this caca movie. This image of Mayan sacrifice is straight out of an Aztec codex. These Mayans kidnapping people to sacrifice, a thing they didn't do, is a thing the Aztecs did all the time. Like I mentioned before, these folks are dressed like the slave class for some reason. For some reason, they are not part of the greater city-state that was the Mayan style of government. These folks have never seen a major city, even though at this point in history, how else are they going to get food and other supplies? Eating meat was a luxury for special occasions. The Maya were expert farmers. Diets consisted of beans, squashes, bugs, birds, chiles, and corn. Where is all of that here? If this is the slave class, why are they not serving the cacique of their area? Why are the warriors also dressed like the slave class? These folks should be serving their higher ups in the warrior class. When we get into the city, we get a bunch of clues telling us that this is a classic period of the Mayan Empire. I looked it up and historians and archaeologists agree this is a classic Maya period. That dates from 250 to 900 Anno Domini. The Aztecs did not exist yet. The Spanish were under Moorish rule. Yet, at the end of this pinche movie, we see Spanish boats. Aside from the fact that the timeline does not match, the movie wants us to think that the Mayan folks are going to be taken down by the Spanish. Sorry, Mel? That ain't what happens. This little girl with impossible smallpox warning the Maya that the Spanish will come and end them makes zero sense. The Aztec Empire ended in 1524, 5 years after the Spanish landed in the Yucatan. The Mayan Empire ended in 1697, and no one really knows why. It's one of the great mysteries historians haven't been able to solve. The Spanish didn't bother with the Maya for one huge reason: gold. The Maya had no gold, but you know who did? The Aztecs. Aztecs. The Aztecs had so much gold. Their word for gold is Teotihuatl, which means poop of the gods. The Spanish eliminated the Aztecs because of gold. The Spanish didn't give to Teotihuacatl about the Maya. So this warning about the Spanish makes no sense for the Maya, but it should have been a warning to the Aztecs. Once again, the Maya and the Aztecs are different civilizations. Sweet baby Jesus, gracias, lo odio. Oh my God, that hurt my sinuses. Ow. I wasn't gonna make this video. I had no interest in watching this movie. Mel Gibson as a filmmaker is not good, and we'll get into that in the next section. Then I got a few requests to do a review. I still wasn't gonna do a review, but then I actually saw the movie and I had to talk about it, review it, and nitpick the hell out of this pinche basura de película. Apocalypto is so blatantly racist, it's nuts how much praise it gets. Yes, racist, super racist. I know in our current hellscape of outrage culture, calling everyone racist is exhausting. It feels like it's getting to the boy who cried wolf point. If everything is racist, then nothing is racist. That's not what I'm about though. I don't find Speedy Gonzalez racist, and I love Mad TV. Mofaz, the depressed Persian tow truck man, is my soulmate. I am problematic as hell. Yes, I know. I bring this up because I'm not the kind of person to call things racist right off the bat. It takes a lot for me to declare something outright racist. So, you know that when I call this pinche Apocalypto movie racist as hell, it's because it's true. We went over the fact that the Mayans are not the Aztecs, and why is that so important? Well, to confuse one group of people with another is not recognizing that people are different and cultures are different. It's the equivalent of something the Latin Hispanic community is famous for, calling all Asian folks chinitos. Asia is way more than China, like way more. To bring it closer to home, how many people would die if we started calling Cubans Dominicans and Mexicans Salvadorians? Mass slaughter if that started to happen. Or just calling all folks who speak Spanish Mexican. That is the equivalent of confusing Aztec with Mayan. What makes it extra racist is that Mel knows no one is gonna notice. No one is going to do the deep dive and call out his saggy nalgas. People will see it, think it's accurate, and praise Mel for being a bigot. Yep, that tracks. The Mayan folks are being portrayed as dirty, gross, stupid, loincloth wearing, totally ignorant, no culture having, helpless Indians. The problem is that people already have that idea of Latin Hispanic folks in general, but the indigenous populations more specifically. These super racist ideas about indigenous folks and Latin Hispanic people were made up by the Spanish to justify all the pillaging, rape, stealing, subjugation, slavery, genocide, kidnapping, etc. that happened. They had to, and still freaking do, dehumanize indigenous folks so all the cochinada they did was acceptable. The Spanish were here to domesticate the savages, and Mel, mal parido Gibson, leans in on that negative portrayal hard. Even the one thing that should be positive, everyone speaking Yucatec Mayan, isn't a good thing in this movie's context. The language thing makes us, the audience, become more separate from the characters than if they had spoken English or Spanish. Jaguar Paw 10 points if you remembered that one. Speaking Yucatec Mayan puts up a barrier. You've heard of the language barrier. That's what's happening here. He is this dirty foreigner speaking a weird language. So everything that happens to him, we don't care because we don't identify with him. And unfortunately, the use of Yucatec Mayan pushes all of these characters further away than draws us into their lives and stories. And me calling them characters is very generous. We'll get into that too. I know folks will be like, but it's a mainstream movie about a Mesoamerican civilization. Okay, but where's all the culture? Where are the astronomers, mathematicians, farmers, architects, women running their businesses, schools, foods, traditions, different types of outfits, social statuses, celebrations, etc.? Where is all of that? Mel, for one, does not care about that. And for two, can't show that. If he shows that, then this little girl's warning makes no sense. In Mel's version, the Maya were asking for the Spanish to come and destroy them. Look at what she was wearing. She was asking for it. Even the quote at the beginning suggests that the Maya did conquest and genocide to themselves. Gracias, lo odio. The Spanish show up at the end. If this wasn't a racist portrayal, the Spanish showing up should be concerning. Oh no, this amazing civilization is about to face the malnacido Spanish. But since it is racist as hell, the Spanish show up and it's like, thank God the Spanish are here to domesticate these gross savages. Gracias, lo odio. Try to claim otherwise. You can't. And I'm running out of drugs. I don't know why people like this. Here are my two best guesses. Folks are so desperate for representation that literally any kind of representation is good and we must support it. Even this crap. The other one is because this movie is about indigenous people, aka extremely underrepresented people. So any kind of criticism can be misconstrued as racism. If you don't like this movie, it's because you don't like indigenous people. We all know one thing has nothing to do with the other, but again, in our hellscape of the internet, folks would rather praise a movie like this than risk being called a racist. The other reason people like this is because they have no good taste. And this is me saying this. I am a trash monster. We talked all about how much I love action movies and action movie trash. So in theory, this should be right up my alley. Spoilers? It's not. This movie is just so bad on all levels. Let's get into that. I'm out of vodka. Mel Gibson is not a good filmmaker, with this movie at least. There is no character or character development with these people. What do? What kind of lives do they lead? Why do they choose to live here over the city or near the ocean? Why are they so stupid? There are a lot of characters, but there is no character. This movie didn't need actors. You could have done it with puppets or animals, and it would be exactly the same. No, you know what? I might have cared if it was puppets or animals, but nothing matters in this movie. You can't distinguish one character from another. Who's this guy? Or this woman? Or this other guy? That last one isn't in the movie at all. You didn't notice because this movie sucks. Usually there is a hero's journey or a revenge plot, or the villains are fun, or an actor gets to act their heart out and chew the scenery. There is none of that here. It's a period piece. Where are the cool costumes? No one's gonna wear anything too elaborate, but the outfits can be more creative than only wearing loincloths. At least make it sexy 300 style. I think actually that is the good version of this kind of movie. 300. Strong aesthetics, memorable characters, a villain chewing the scenery, creative cinematography. Zack Snyder, you're a brilliant director, baby. You have Excellent taste. Last thing, because I am seriously out of drugs. If this movie is so good, why didn't it inspire a trend of this kind of movie? When something is good and popular, everyone else immediately tries to copy it and emulate its success. The Matrix comes out and it has endless imitators. The MCU is successful and all of a sudden every other property needs to be part of an extended universe. Jackie Chan movies are popular and everyone tries to imitate his style and choreography. That also happens with actors. Benedict Cumberbatch is good in Sherlock and all of a sudden he's in every movie. That didn't happen with Apocalypto. No one copied the style, no one cared about the story, no one hired any of the actors to be in anything else. Why? Because this movie sucks. No one copies or rips off things that suck. Only things that are good and cool get ripped off. This was the worst movie I've ever seen. If there are any defenders, I dare you to leave me a comment in the comment section down below and tell me why it's good. Do not watch this caca movie. Watch 300 instead. Zacky Zack is cool and a good dude actually. I'm gonna go turn some tricks for drugs. Thanks for watching. And as always, gracias, lo odio, mi familia. I think this is like the angriest I'm ever gonna be at a movie. Maybe if we ever do a review on the caca basura that was blonde, I might be angry too, but this is the worst.